Ricky Sawyer, it's Ellie from ITV News. The moment you confront someone on camera is surreal. Your adrenaline is pumping, you've never met this person, and here I am in Canary Wharf at 7 o'clock in the morning, confronting him, just throwing question after question after question at him, hoping that he'll answer or give me something back. He doesn't know anything about me, but I know a lot about him because we've been investigating him and we know what people like this have done.
I'm gonna cry. It's all right.
Because we've sat there with women in tears.
And we know how these kind of people operate behind closed doors because we've taken our cameras there. We've seen the risks that they're taking.
We damaged 2 times nerves and 1 time artery.
Capturing things that stunned the professionals.
That's probably one of the most horrible videos I've seen.
Here and abroad, our team have captured lies on camera. We've seen the lives that they've ruined and the lives that have been lost.
And all while asking, how on earth is this happening in Britain?
This is the story of how we track down the cosmetic cowboys and the Backstreet butchers.
And expose them.
So the man I'm hassling in Canary Wharf, that's Ricky Sawyer. But this is not where our story starts. It begins on social media.
I saw this new treatment and it was called the liquid BBL procedure. This was around 2023. Now, when people are getting their lips done, it's around, 0.5 mils of filler, right? So it's a teeny tiny amount, but I'm seeing advertisements of people getting 1,000 millilitres of filler. That's 1 bottle of water in each bum cheek. So a few of my friends were actually quite intrigued about this procedure, to kind of fill your hip dips. It kind of seemed like this miracle thing that came out. They were promoted as a safe lunchtime treatment, but if you searched on Google, next to nothing came up. And often you just got articles about crude oil. Now, I was so shocked to find out these people were doing these training courses in 1 day. And I found a clinic that was in London. So I go to ask Patrick if I can go undercover.
You've got essentially people with no medical qualifications teaching other people with no medical background to do surgery. Surely this is dangerous. Surely somebody is getting hurt. So I said, yeah, let's do it. So on a Sunday morning, we headed to Golders Green in North London. I was expecting some kind of hospital or clinic.
I didn't expect it to be a house, so I thought, I don't want to knock if it's the wrong place. That was the first shocking thing when we walked in, that I'm going through the back gates of somebody's home.
So immediate red flags, start to get worried, but we had security with us and that security person had a clear view of the entrance so we went in.
There was 3 of us on this course, and this woman that came in didn't look like a doctor. The session actually starts, and this is, the theory section. It was just multiple choice questions. And then when she's going through the answers, she's just like, wrong, this is the answer, and then just like moves on, doesn't explain why. And whilst that's happening, the first model arrives. And she was so young, man, like she was really young, kind of felt like lamb to the slaughter kind of thing. These needles are just massive needles. It was just disturbing to watch, really. And then one of the assistants came over and was like, they're not supposed to have their phones anymore or something. That was kind of my cover for not doing anything, because I was just saying, I just want to record it so I can watch back afterwards. But then also my phone was the way that I was getting out of there. How I was going to message Patrick to say, it's time for you to call me, there's been an emergency, like, let's go. The filler was just bleeding and oozing out of her, and she just puts like a little pink love heart plaster over it, and it's still just like oozing out of it. It's been hours, I haven't spoken to Patrick.
I have no idea what's going on. I do start to worry then.
At this point, she's really encouraging me to have a go, almost getting angry at me. I'm petrified of needles. I'm so scared of needles. It was one of the most intense situations that I've ever been in.
I've been outside for a long time and we do start to think about going in.
So I made the conscious decision to tell them.
Can I speak to you? I just don't think I'm going to be able to do this.
She said, you know what, like, it's fine. Maybe just stay and watch. I said, well, can I have my phone back?
Suddenly my phone pings and it's Cree.
We decided that that was the time to leave.
So I was relieved when I saw her. She was obviously shocked at what she'd seen, and I was desperate to kind of see what the secret cameras had filmed. And it was really shocking. The patient was clearly in a lot of pain.
Sorry. Yeah.
To me, it looked dangerous, so we made the decision that we would show it to experts.
Oh, good God. Oh, look at her, she's squirming, isn't she?
What's that?
Oh, God.
There's a syringe sticking out of her left buttock cheek, totally unattended. Anything could happen to that.
If that girl was to roll over, it's just a catalogue of hazards, isn't it, this course?
When we'd left, one of the models collapsed and an ambulance needed to be called.
The environment is totally unacceptable for this procedure. Some of them have gloves on, some of them don't. I saw one girl trying to fasten the gown up on the woman that's got regular clothes on underneath the gown. She's not got scrubs on at all. That's probably one of the most horrible videos I've seen.
Yeah.
Really, seriously, guys, that's just horrible.
I think that that's when I realised maybe I'm just scratching the surface here.
This is going on all over the country every day, and more people are having these treatments done, and these so-called training academies are capitalising on this.
We started speaking to Ashton, who runs an organisation called Safe Faces.
So we set up in 2014, and our primary function is to connect people with safe practitioners, but we were being contacted by people who had had bad experiences. We put Cree in touch with some of these women.
These women are ashamed, embarrassed, their parents don't know, their partners don't know.
No one had spoken out about this before.
And then Ashton introduced me to Louise Muller, and that's where Ellie came in.
So Patrick and Cree called me into a meeting. They told me that they knew that this was an issue, that people were being harmed, and that they'd heard about one woman in particular, Louise, who had had a really dangerous experience.
The first pictures that I saw, oh my God, it was so bad. Her bum almost looked like somebody had bitten a chunk out of it.
And even when we got to her house on that morning, I didn't know for certain that she was going to do the interview with me. Her mum was there in the room. She was trying to reassure her as well. But it was only really when she sat down on the sofa and I thought, okay, this is going to happen. She's going to talk to us.
When I got there, the actual woman who owned the Instagram, she wasn't even there. I was actually greeted with a man when I got there. He didn't explain any risks or anything like that or anything that was going to happen. It felt like a stabbing pain, and then I got a shooting pain going straight down my leg. I screamed and said that really hurt. And then when I left, the pain wasn't going away.
Is that the worst pain you've ever felt?
It's the worst pain ever, yeah, definitely. I was holding on the bed that hard, my nails came off.
She was taken to hospital. It was the warning that the surgeon gave her that really brought it home.
He advised me that I'd been injected with air bubbles, infection. They blocked the blood supply to my bum, so obviously my skin tissue started to die. He said I've got sepsis and I need to operate in 20 minutes or else I'm not going to be here no more. And at this point, he couldn't tell me what he was going to cough. So I'm going to cry.
It's all right.
Nothing really had prepared me for what we would experience as soon as Louise's story went out.
We were absolutely inundated.
Messages, emails, calls.
The amount of times that we were hearing the word sepsis.
And we were like, whoa, okay, this is big.
At that time, we thought that Louise was the worst case scenario and you couldn't get any worse than that. That turned out not to be the case.
So we began to document it, and what we saw was unbelievable.
Sepsis, hospital treatment,
Infection and hair loss.
An exploding bum,
lumps, struggling to walk.
people being hospitalised for a week.
Almost dying.
As more women came forward, we had more stories to share.
I feel like I've been medically abused. The doctors come into my room and just basically said, look, had your sister not have called the ambulance when she did, you could have died within the hour.
It came up in blisters. They then started to pop like all the filler was coming out, blood, it was terrible. And the next day I woke up and my side was like black.
If it escalated to a complaint, they would be ignored, in some cases even blocked.
I don't think it should be allowed.
You're messing with people's lives.
Lawyers or the police, they were just being told no, often because the clients had in some ways consented to the procedure itself.
And as we documented more and more cases, one company name kept coming up over and over again.
Lift Aesthetics.
So this is one of the most reputable names in the industry.
And one name kept coming up.
Ricky Sawyer.
Ricky Sawyer.
Ricky Sawyer.
So Ricky Sawyer was great with social media. He would do Facebook Lives of him doing the treatment, using people like Katie Price, explaining, you know, that it doesn't hurt at all.
Here I am, guys, at Lift Aesthetics.
Love Island contestants, who many of the clients I spoke to said they were influenced by. Quite quickly, we had between 10 and 12 people who had been treated by Ricky Sawyer. But we can't just turn up and put a microphone in someone's face. We wrote to Ricky Sawyer, we set out all the allegations against him and what we were planning to broadcast. In response, on Instagram, he sent us back a message, which we were quite surprised to see, but he asked us how much. And he was referring to our invitation for an interview. Now, we explained that we would not be paying him to do an interview, to which he replied, no tar.
So we made the decision that we were going to track him down and confront him.
Using a burner phone, we created a fake WhatsApp profile and booked an appointment with him. And that's how I ended up in Canary Wharf at 7 in the morning. It was clearly an unusual place for a beauty salon to be. It looked like an office block, and all of a sudden, there he was. Ricky Sawyer, it's Ellie from ITV News. Why are you still doing the BBLs, the filler BBLs? I'm just thinking this is gonna be my one shot to get the answers that I want out of him. Have you got anything to say to your clients who've needed emergency life-saving surgery in hospital? He was wearing the blue scrubs, carrying a plastic bag for life and a tray with his equipment in it. I start asking him questions about how he's doing this, why he's doing the liquid BBLs, what he's got to say to his clients. Women have been told that if they haven't gone into hospital, they would have died. And we didn't know how he was going to react. We'd heard that he could be quite confrontational on message. Mr. Sawyer, do you really not have anything to say to your clients? But there he was, covering his face with his coat. He just wanted to hide and run away. He went in the direction of the tube and he just tried to get away from us as quickly as possible. Ricky kept on getting away with it because he would stay on the move. We met him in London, but he'd already been banned in Epping Forest. Then he got banned by Glasgow Council because of our reporting, but he kept popping up in Liverpool, Birmingham, Cardiff and Manchester.
The idea of rogue operators and dodgy practitioners isn't something new.
I was cut all across the top. He took my nipples off and he left them hanging on a piece of wire.
Our own journalists at ITN have been investigating rogue practitioners since the 90s, people going undercover, catching them, doing dodgy procedures.
The consultation with the doctor can only be regarded as disgraceful.
But I think that what has happened over the last 25 years has made it so much of a bigger problem.
When these treatments first came to the UK, they were the reserve of the rich and the famous. With the advent of things like social media and reality TV, they just exploded. They were now being used to augment lips, augment cheeks, and they were reaching a much, much younger audience. Nobody had the foresight to categorise them as medical procedures and restrict who can and can't do them. We've investigated a person 1 week working in Argos, saw a one-day training course, and then the next day set herself on Instagram as an aesthetic practitioner.
As one expert put it,
I think the best description of the UK is the Wild West. Anything goes.
but we were about to find out just how bad it could get when people would go for dangerous and invasive treatments on holiday. Every year, around 150,000 Brits go to Turkey for cosmetic surgery. Clinics use slick social media videos that promise to change your whole life in a holiday.
The surgery is almost the kind of afterthought.
So I first heard about Kaydell Brown through a producer on my team, Justina. So Kaydell and her sister Leanne both signed up for a mummy MOT. Now, despite its kind of light-hearted name, it is a set of really heavy-duty, complicated, high-risk procedures.
You have arm lifts, BBLs, liposuction, breast uplift, breast augmentation, tummy tuck, all manner of cocktail of different procedures. These adverts are targeted at these women saying, you know, have you got a mummy pouch? Have you got drooping breasts? All of these things that people feel incredibly self-conscious about after giving birth and having a child.
Kaydell's family shared with us the WhatsApp exchange that she'd had with the clinic expert in Istanbul. It was with someone who called themselves a medical consultant, and they negotiated and discussed discounts towards a total price which was £7,300. In their last exchange, Kaydell poignantly says, "I'm really nervous, do you know who my surgeon will be?" We know that the sisters did their research. We know they looked up the clinic on Trustpilot, and all of the reviews were overwhelmingly positive. There was no indication of the risks. So they travelled to Turkey, they documented their whole trip, selfies on the plane, driving in a limo to the hotel, filming their hotel room when they arrived in Turkey. The surgery for Kaydell took 5 hours, and it was while Leanne was being prepped for the same surgery that doctors came to tell her,
you know, there's complications of surgery. And I just said, as my sister died. And he just said, I'm sorry, but yeah. They just passed me an envelope, said, this is your money back and this is your sister's money back. Yeah, this is your flight. Sorry she's dead, here's a plane ticket, there were nothing.
When Kaydell's body was finally returned back to the UK, to the family's horror, parts of her organs were missing.
They'd kept pieces of her heart and her intestines, and that could be a vital cause of death.
Now we now know that that was probably during the autopsy process, and they kept parts of her organs for testing. That is part of Turkish law, but that offered no comfort to the family.
I thought you'd have to ask at least permission from family before you took anything, but...
It's hard knowing, because you don't know who to trust anymore.
Yeah.
I could just see how shocked they were and how angry they were. They wanted answers. How could this have happened to their sister? With their permission, we said that we would investigate this. When you apply to work as a journalist in Turkey, you have to say the story that you're doing. And when we put that it was a story about cosmetic surgery, we had our visas rejected with no reason given. So we decided to send an undercover reporter into an appointment with a rep from Clinic Expert.
I'm just looking to get more information on the mummy makeover. I really want to go ahead with it. You hear all these stories about things going wrong.
No, miss, we have to perform a tummy tuck procedure, you know, every day at least 6 or 7 cases.
At this point, we knew at least 28 British people had died since 2019. We'd confirmed that there had been 2 deaths at the clinic.
What's the worst thing that can happen with this, and has anyone ever died?
I can truly say that I never ever faced of this kind of serious experience in my entire career.
I was angry on behalf of Kaydell's family. I'd spent a lot of time with the family at that point. I saw the impact on her sisters and her kids. I couldn't understand why the risks were not being explained more clearly to these people. We started to look at other cases in Turkey.
There are social media groups that are explaining just how drastic and life-altering it can be when it goes wrong.
So we made the decision that we were going to do a week's worth of coverage to really put the pressure on authorities in Turkey, but also the government here in the UK, and ask the question, why is more not being done to protect people?
What he recommended I get was a mummy makeover, even though I have no kids and I'm only 20 years old. I just remember seeing my body and I was just black and blue. I don't know how I survived that.
12 either painkillers or nutrient supplements that you have to take every single day. Do you feel violated?
Violated, butchered, embarrassed.
What my consultants have said, you know, that I shouldn't blame myself, but I do, because I feel like if I'd not had the surgery done, I wouldn't be in this position that I'm in now.
What we were hearing was so brutal.
All this brown liquid started seeping out of my body.
That's not right, that is.
No, it's really hurting.
It's not right at all.
I screamed. I felt like I was falling apart.
Sarah needed life-saving surgery when she got back from Turkey after having excess skin removed. When I met her later on in her recovery journey, she was having reconstructive surgeries.
So I've taken out all the scar tissue. So I'm just deciding now whether to recite the tummy button.
Her surgeon invited me to really come and see the scar that he was removing and the muscle and tissue and skin that he was closing to give her a neat scar. Words like botched and butchered are used often when referring to complications that arise from Turkish surgery. Would you agree with that description?
They are colloquial terms which we don't really like using as a plastic surgeon, but I think in this case, I think it'd be very fair to call it something along those lines.
We knew that without action being taken here or in Turkey, nothing was going to change.
Tens of millions of pounds is costing the NHS money, and it's also costing them bed days where other patients could be treated.
It was around this time that I found out about Sasha. She was in an NHS hospital bed too. This is from a liquid Brazilian bum lift treatment in the UK. They suspect that she's going to die.
She was put in an induced coma. She had heart failure, kidney failure. She was given a 5% chance to live.
Sasha somehow recovered, but as a team we were saying that it's only a matter of time before somebody in the UK loses their life.
A mum of 5 becomes the first to die following a Brazilian butt lift procedure in a UK clinic.
Everybody was just in a state of shock, even though we knew it was inevitable at some point. And the fact that it had been allowed to happen was just unfathomable.
33-year-old Alice Webb became unwell after having a liquid BBL on Monday. She was rushed to Gloucestershire Royal Hospital but died just hours later.
2 people have been arrested by Gloucestershire police on suspicion of manslaughter. One of them was released, but another, Jordan James Park, who's known as the Lip King, was bailed while the police investigation continues. He's always denied any wrongdoing. Our producer went to try and ask him some questions.
Do you have a message for Alice's family?
But he just drove off.
While police investigated Alice's death, we reached out to the family through Ashton.
The worst bit was obviously, coming back from the hospital, reciting in my head, how do I tell the kids? It's okay to talk to mum in your head, out loud. Yeah, I do.
What do you say to her?
How much I miss her, how much the kids miss her.
He didn't want another family to go through what they had been through.
He really wanted a change of law that would be in Alice's memory.
A massive chunk has been taken out of all of us, and the day that she is buried, there's a piece of each and of every one of us. It will be going down with her, and that'll never be returned. And hearing of Alice's law potentially being enforced returns back a little piece back inside us.
When Alice died, we honestly expected there to be an announcement from the government that said we need to tackle this as an urgent issue.
We were putting bids in to speak to Wes Streeting. He's the guy that can seemingly do something about this. And every time we were shot down.
It was incredibly frustrating.
Just as I thought that, we've uncovered the worst of what's happening, I was sent an Instagram post. And at that moment, I knew that we had to go undercover again. The Instagram post showed a liposuction surgery that was happening on a high street. You could see totally unclean surroundings. And when you looked at the comment section, people were in absolute horror and disbelief. People in the cosmetics industry were calling it out. And so I went on the hunt, building up a catalogue of people who had been on these training courses, people who were left disfigured.
The burning hot probe were inserted and I squealed out. And as I squealed out, I looked to the side of me and up their cupboards, there was someone else's blood splashed.
Monica and Daria, who were the trainers, not only did they not take any accountability, they blamed her.
I did say, I need your help, I need your advice, and I were ignored for a 2-day period. And then she actually called me and she just said, you was too interested in what machines we were using rather than the aftercare advice that we tried to provide.
But the decision was made that I couldn't go undercover for the second time.
There was a fear that Cree could end up being recognised. Some of our reports had quite a lot of press coverage, so we decided to use a producer who had a lot of experience in undercover filming. We had heard from some of the people who said they'd been harmed by the procedure, that they'd had altercations with the owners when they complained. So we knew that there was quite a lot of risks involved.
Hello, are you Monica? Daria.
When the producer came back, she actually played down the footage quite a lot.
She said, you know, it was okay, no ambulance was called. And I'm thinking, what? You know, from the pictures and the videos that I'd already seen seemed pretty graphic.
So when we first started looking at the footage, it wasn't that great really. We were spooling through, there wasn't really anything happening. Then all of a sudden we hit the moment that there was a clear view of the procedure.
And I'll never forget it. It's this woman and her neck is turned to the side and there's this big metal rod just in and out and you can see blood coming down the neck. You're just like, oh my God, like this is Backstreet surgery on Clapham High Street. We were all left with our jaws to the floor. I remember the first thing that I said was, how are we going to show this on TV? Because it was that graphic.
It felt more like watching a horror film. People passing that shop would never guess in their wildest dreams that people with no medical qualifications were carrying out surgical interventions on unsuspecting members of the public who didn't even realise they were going in for cosmetic surgery.
When I showed the footage to Professor Whitaker, he was speechless. It wasn't just what he was seeing, it was what he was hearing.
Let's say we damage the one side of the nose, then we're very, very careful on other side. And we damage with our students 2 times nerves and 1 time artery.
I've been a doctor for over 22 years now. I never thought in my lifetime I'd see something like that. It actually disgusts me, to be honest. An invasive surgical procedure carried out by essentially a beautician. Come on, that's just ridiculous, isn't it?
And what's even more ridiculous is the producer that was doing the filming for us didn't even finish the course and she still got the certificate.
We knew that we needed to put the allegations to them. They ignored our calls, emails, messages, but they were operating in plain sight. We decided to go for it.
We drive down with a camera and we saw this blue car drive around a few times, but it never stopped outside.
Is that her?
And we waited and we waited. We really needed the bathroom the whole time. We've been waiting there for hours until we saw Daria's car drive by and she's parking up. And we're walking down the street and I can see that she's on the phone and she hasn't clocked us yet. As soon as she sees us, as soon as she can process what's happening, she shuts the door. I'm shouting at the car.
Do you accept that these practices are unsafe?
Making sure that I put everything to her. And she's driving off and I'm chasing this car, still asking the questions. And at the time I feel absolutely devastated. But when I watch the footage back, seeing this woman in a blue Porsche slam the door in my face, drive off down the road, you just couldn't have told the story any better, really.
So the women at the clinic wouldn't speak to us on camera, and despite all of our efforts, neither would the health secretary. And then suddenly, one weekend, we saw an opportunity.
I remember getting a message on a Saturday night. We have an opportunity to speak to Wes Streeting tomorrow. He was just supposed to be doing the rounds, which means that he was going to be announcing something.
Normally the morning round would be done by our colleagues at Westminster, but we decided we'd send Cree and hijack the interview. And finally, we could get some answers.
There are lots of people across our country who are extremely vulnerable to cowboys operating.
I think the one thing that people are going to be quite frustrated about is the lack of urgency here, and this is something that's costing the NHS millions. Does that not light a fire within your stomach to want to do something about this and do something soon?
I think it's absolutely disgusting that there are Wild West operators practicing actually dangerously in cosmetic surgery and putting people's lives at risk, and we've seen that in the tragic case of Alice. We are taking this seriously, we're going as fast as we can, and we know that action is needed and we will deliver.
So no exact time frame?
Not at this stage.
Even though he wouldn't address a timescale on these new laws, the fact that he talked about the Wild West and cosmetic cowboys made front page news.
I was invited on this morning with Dane, Alice's husband.
Had she done her research, do you know?
She looked into it as much as she could have. At 1% chance, you know, of not seeing her kids again, she wouldn't risk that.
You've been going down this rabbit hole for a while.
The really sad thing about it is the lack of urgency. That's the thing that is quite frustrating for everybody involved, isn't it?
In the weeks and the months afterwards, things just started to go a bit quiet.
We'd ask the Department of Health for a statement, a comment every single time.
It was always something's coming, something's coming. It seemed like that day was never going to come.
Our investigation in the UK now went way beyond liquid BBLs.
I don't want to wake up feeling like this.
She just basically went in like a butcher.
Facelifts, micro liposuctions, breast augmentations, all going horribly wrong.
See, I was not exaggerating. My nipple was literally detached from my breast.
But there was still one person who was yet to share their experience, Sasha.
Pri had been speaking to her for quite a long time. She was unable to talk about it because she'd been through so much trauma.
I think something changed when Sasha was invited to speak in Parliament.
You obviously believed it was safe.
I was told it was safe. The clinic and the practitioner that did me knows it's not safe, and their social media is still saying it's safe. And they know that they nearly killed me.
Speaking in Parliament gave her that glimpse of hope that things could change if people like her continue to talk.
We start to hear whispers that the government is working on something. Behind the scenes, movement around regulation and law change is starting to happen.
And I wanted to invite Sasha to talk about her experiences for when or if the announcement comes.
Pretty much the pain started straight away, and I thought, oh, this almost feels like surgery. It was quite brutal. I don't know whether it's because I was dying that I felt this peace. The doctors were coming in and putting the central line in and everything in my arms and stuff, and I was vomiting and my bowels were opening. I was fitting, had a heart attack. I think at this stage my lungs were collapsing, I had pneumonia, my kidneys were failing. And they said basically that everything we're doing, it's not working.
It was just the most heartbreaking interview.
Have there been any long-term health complications? I've ended up with a leaking heart valve, the fatigue, the hair loss, the weakness. Yeah, it's never ending. Every day there's something else.
There was no better time to put Sasha's story on air, as the government finally made a big announcement.
The crackdown on cowboy cosmetic procedures, the new rules designed to protect people.
The most high-risk procedures, like liquid Brazilian butt lifts, must be done by a qualified healthcare worker. Them and their premises will be policed by the Care Quality Commission, and they could be punished and fined if they break the rules.
The Health Secretary Wes Streeting said our 2-year investigation helped persuade the government to act.
For those that it had affected the most, there was a sense of pride and relief that change was finally happening, but it definitely came with other emotions too.
Why has this not been jumped on sooner? Obviously I'm really happy that there's changes being made, but frustrated that it's sadly so late.
If it was like, we'd have known all this, no, it wouldn't have happened. End of. You know, just knowing the risks, knowing the complications. You know, I hope something gets put in place before it happens again, and another family's just ripped apart and destroyed. Because it will if something's not done sooner rather than later.
This law Has to be a clear set of standards that say if you are not, at the very least, a doctor, then you cannot carry out these procedures. We are calling for them to take it a step further and say only plastic surgeons can do these procedures. Anybody else is banned, and the consequences for doing that need to be severe.
Other action that's been taken has been the Advertising Standards Authority have been really clamping down on social media adverts for the liquid BBLs. And also we've seen the government use health and medical influencers on TikTok to try and warn people about the dangers of going abroad for surgery.
It might seem cheaper, but is it really worth the risk?
Don't forget to do your research. Speak to your UK doctor first.
But it didn't impress those who'd suffered in Turkey.
I think it's rubbish. Absolute rubbish. No video or TikTok, that doesn't stop anybody.
What do you think would have stopped you getting on that plane?
If I'd seen somebody like me.
It's so hard to sit down. Before Louise, nobody had spoken about this.
Obviously, I nearly lost my life. My mum obviously nearly lost her girl. Hunter, my little son, nearly lost his mum. It's a bigger impact. It's not just a procedure.
And now we've spoken to so many women, and each and every story has held so much weight.
I don't want a cake, I don't want biscuits, I don't want a big meal. I want to be able to swallow a bottle of water and not vomit.
Every single day, without fail, I will have the feeling of that needle. I can feel it now, I can feel it going through. It's just absolutely awful.
You don't realise how much pain you're going to endure over there. And it's just more life than being pretty.
Without all of those different testimonies, this change would never have happened.
So much has changed since we started our investigation.
Yeah, it's quite incredible to think really that when we first started reporting on it, there was just a few articles. Now, when you search liquid BBL, there are so many articles that explain the dangers, explain the risks, the horror stories.
Going undercover, getting to the root cause of what is behind these issues. I don't think the law change announcement would have come without this level of reporting.
Now people know the dangers, and that means that there's so many less women that will go out there and get these procedures done.
And as for the people that we've exposed, Daria and Monica left Clapham High Street and luxury medical aesthetics closed down. But the Turkish clinic Expert, where Kadel died, is still operating and advertising. VVV Clinic, where Cree went undercover, that's still operating too. And as for Ricky Sawyer
has an injunction out against him that was brought in civil courts, which means he has been banned from performing the liquid BBL and getting other people to do it on his behalf until at least 2028. The potential risk of the law change, it will send some of these practitioners, these clinics and these treatments underground.
There will still be rogue operators, there'll still be people trying to make money and putting patients at risk.
We are not going anywhere. We are going to continue to expose wrongdoing, bad practice, and we are going to continue listening to the stories and voices of people who have been affected.
Because it's saving lives. It really is saving lives.